Hi. Movie show recaps here. Today I'm going to explain a science fiction action film called Inception, released in the year 2010. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. Inception is a 2010 science fiction action film written and directed by Christopher Nolan. The movie is about a subtle difference between truth and a dream. And it is a fascinating yet complex one to understand. The story of the movie revolves around a man named Dom Cobb, an extractor who, through his dream-sharing technology, enters into the subconscious of others to extract or instill valuable information. He has a machine closed in a handbag, and if two people connect that machine with them while sleeping, they can intervene in each other's dreams. The main character, Cobb, is tasked with accomplishing a mission for a Japanese business tycoon named Mr. Saito, who wants his rival's business collapsed. Saito instructs Cobb to instill the idea of splitting his father's business in Robert Michael Fisher's mind through his dream-sharing technology. Although the task is quite difficult, Cobb agrees to go with Saito, as he promises to reunite Cobb with his family. He gathers his team, which consists of Arthur, Ariadne, Eames, and Yusuf. They sets out on the adventure. Robert Fisher is a big businessman. He owns his own private plane and flies to Los Angeles from Sydney every 2 weeks for business purposes. Saito helps Cobb and his team abduct Robert during the 10-hour flight and enter his subconscious to instill the idea of splitting his father's property, which will ultimately lead to the downfall of the entire business. Cobb's team estimates the time period needed to accomplish the mission, and they reach the decision that they will go into 3 dreams one after another to prolong the time period, as the time in the dream world is 20x faster than that of the real world. Consequently, the time in the third dream extends to 10 years, which is 20 minutes in the real world. Somehow, they become successful in their mission, and the movie comes to an abrupt end. The film begins with a man named Dom Cobb lying on the seashore with his children playing in the sand. Some soldiers come suddenly and take him to a place and sit him across a table from an aged man named Saito, who is sitting at the other end of the table. The soldiers got a pistol and a tape from Cobb. In the next scene, the movie flashes back to the past, where we see Cobb, Saito, now young, and Arthur, Cobb's friend, sitting on the same table that we have seen in the previous scene. Cobb and Arthur try to steal an idea from Saito's mind, but Saito is too clever to spoil their plan. Shrewdly, Saito learns that he is in a dream, and he does not succumb to Cobb's trap. As their dream breaks, they find themselves in a room that Saito recognizes as his home. But later, when he sees the carpet, he learns that it is not his home, and hence he again comes to know that he is still in a dream, and the dream is running in Nash's mind, who is a team member of Cobb and is an architect by profession. In the following scene, we see Saito sitting in his plane with Nash as a hostage. He tells Cobb that if he wants his team member liberated, he will work for him on a mission. He tells Cobb and Arthur that he has an aged rival named Maurice Fisher, who owns a power plant, and if he succeeds in his mission, he will control half of the world. Saito wants them to instill an idea into Fisher's son, Robert Fisher, to destroy his father's company. However, Cobb disagrees with Saito, as it is quite difficult to instill a new idea into someone's mind, but later he gives in to Saito after he offers Cobb help in his reunion with his family in America. Actually, Cobb is convicted of the murder of his own wife, and that is the reason he is seeking asylum in other countries, as the American police are after him. Cobb, having signed a contract with Saito, goes to his mentor and father-in-law, Miles, to find a new architect, as Saito has dismissed Nash. Cobb tells him he needs an architect who can build fascinating buildings and maps in the dream world. Miles meets him with one of his students, Ariadne, who is a veteran architect. Cobb administers a test to her, which she passes. In the next scene, we see Cobb and Ariadne sitting at a coffee shop, where Cobb tells her that they are not in the real world but rather in a dream. Everything around them appears to be bursting. Now, Ariadne tries to make architects in his subconscious mind. But Cobb warns her that she should never imagine the real world in his mind, or else she should be trapped in her dreams. Meanwhile, we see Cobb's wife, Mal, murder Ariadne, waking her up from her dream, and she ends up in a garage. Cobb informs her that she has been in the dream world until now, that it moves 20 times faster than the real world, and that a wound in the dream world can be felt in the real world. He shows her his machine, through which one can go to the dream world. He further tells her that if she dies in the dream world, she will return to the real world, and if things are going normally, she will receive a time loop that gives her the push to go to the real world if she wants. Now, to accomplish such a grand mission, Cobb needs a team, and he asks a man named Eames, who is good at impersonating people, to join him. Cobb then approaches Yusuf, an Ayurvedic physician who prepares anesthetic shrubs, and offers him a position on his team. Once the team is ready, they all get together in one place and discuss their plan. Cobb suggests that they create 3 levels of dreaming, and he estimates that if they faint someone for 10 hours in the real world, they will get a week's time in level 1. And in level 1, if they faint all the people, they will get 6 months, and by repeating the same thing in level 2, they will get 10 years in level 3. Next, according to the level 1 plan, they have to manipulate Robert Fisher's mind to not obey his father, Maurice Fisher. And in the second level, they will instill a thought in Robert's mind that will force him to go his own way and do something big by himself. In the third level, Robert will be believed to have learned from his father that he should not follow in the footsteps of his father, as his life has been useless. After that, the team prepares for level 1 and boards the plane in which Robert is traveling because his own plane occasionally malfunctions. Cobb, who is sitting beside Robert, tries to be friendly with him and gives him his passport, which falls off his valet, and he attaches a contagious drug to it that makes Robert unconscious a little later. Cobb, along with his team, connects himself and Robert to the dream-sharing machine and intrudes into Robert's subconscious mind after he faints. However, to their surprise, while they are traveling in a car in the dreaming world, they learn that Robert already knows about extraction, and thus his guards are waiting at the next stop for them when they are kidnapping him. The guards open fire on Cobb's team, and in the exchange of fire, Saito gets shot in the chest and sustains a severe injury. The guards, who are carrying heavy weapons, chase them while it is raining, but Cobb's team successfully evades them, reaches a garage, and fastens Robert in a separate room. As Saito is severely injured, team members decide to kill him so that he can return to the real world, but Cobb stops them because if they kill Saito, he will be trapped in the dream world once and for all. Next, they decide to go to the second dream, and they sit in a van that Yusuf is driving while they all connect themselves and Robert with the machine. In the level 2 dream, we see Robert sitting in a hotel where Cobb and his team are spying on him. Eames disguises himself as Peter Browning, Robert's godfather and a fellow executive at Fisher's company, in order to learn more about Robert's hidden intentions. Cobb convinces Robert that his life is in danger and that they have come to protect him and his subconscious mind from thieves. On the other hand, in level 2's dream, we see the guards chasing the van and Yusuf narrowly escaping their attacks. Cobb tells Robert that his father thinks he is incapable of handling the Fisher's business and that he himself must do something extraordinary to achieve something in his life. Cobb then leads Robert to a room where Eames appears disguised as Browning. Robert starts believing that Browning is a treacherous person, and in this regard, Cobb again convinces Robert to intrude into Browning's subconscious mind to learn about his treacherous ideas. He agrees, and they all connect themselves with the machine to land in level 3 of their dreams. The next scene changes to a hilly area that is covered with a white blanket of snow. In the midst of the snow, there is a spaceship turned house guarded by a large infantry, in which Maurice Fisher is lying. Meanwhile, they receive a signal that informs them that they are left with 1 hour of time at the third level, which is equal to 3 minutes at the second level and a few seconds at the first. If they run out of time, they will start waking up in each level, and their mission will be unsuccessful. Cobb shoots a soldier who is guarding the house, which makes the whole infantry alarmed, and they run after Cobb and Ariadne. While Cobb is distracting them, Robert goes into the house and is about to open the locker where his father is kept. That is when Robert shoots him dead, but a little later Cobb shoots her too. Before Eames, Cobb, and Ariadne go into the house, Robert has already died, and their plan seems impossible now. However, Ariadne suggests that they go to the fourth dream, where they will kill Robert in order to bring him back to life in level 3. Ariadne and Cobb connect with the machine and end up in another dream where they find themselves on a seashore. On the other hand, we see Arthur transporting the sleeping bodies in the elevator. Cobb shows Ariadne dilapidated buildings that are too old to fall down. Cobb tells Ariadne that when he and his wife, Moll, would go to the dream world, they felt over the moon because they could easily build or destroy anything. Both of them had promised to live their lives together, and they accepted the dream world as reality. They spend so much time in the dream world that they forget to return to the real world, where they spend up to 50 years. When they return to the real world, though Cobb accepts the reality, Moll still believes they are in the dream world. Thus, she takes her life by falling from the building, believing that she will end up in the real world, albeit the real one that Moll cannot recognize. She leaves a letter behind her saying her husband wants to kill her. Cobb's lawyer warns him to leave the country before the police arrest him. In the fourth level, Cobb and Ariadne see Moll sitting in a house, where Fisher is also laying on the balcony with hands, feet, and mouth tied. Ariadne pushes Robert down the building as she falls off it to reach the third level. Robert then unlocks the giant room in the third level and meets his ailing, elderly father. He says sorry to his father, and consequently, he learns that his father wants him to do something on his own. Here we see that the time period at each level is coming to an end. Eames blasts the spaceship Cobb house at level 3. Arthur leaves the elevator where he has kept all the sleeping team members, including Browning and Robert, to crash at level 2, and the van falls into the sea at level 1. In the next scene, we see Robert and Browning sailing to shore on level 1 while Arthur and Ariadne are sharing an oxygen cylinder. Now the scene changes, and we see the same hotel where old Saito and Cobb are sitting as we have seen at the start of the film. They kill themselves and go back to the real world, where they are traveling on a plane to California. The movie ends with Cobb playing with his children in the real world. If you like our efforts, kindly subscribe our channel and press the bell icon so that you don't miss our new video.